Hi everyone, welcome to another Tea With Me Tuesday. I'm Grey Power 60 and I want to thank you all for coming back to my little gab session. My tea today, my teacup today, as you saw in the beginning, I'm just going to have a little taste of it. I'm going to put it over on the little table there and get my magnifying glass out since I can't read. So this is just the Queen's Primrose and it's called a Countryside Series. So it's the Primrose. Isn't that adorable? You know, I haven't changed my nail polish yet. Terrible, terrible, terrible. So I hope everyone is doing well. I hope everyone is fine. I'm going to try not to make this one a really long video, as I always do. I got such a wonderful response from everybody and sharing your thoughts. Sorry, I'm just puttering here. I was just making something, making some more puppy dog houses but I didn't like this little tag here. I was just practicing. For my doggy treats for my craft fair. So after having such wonderful response and so many different shared experiences, I thought I would just go a little deeper into, so that I don't look like I'm perfect, because I'm not. In no way am I perfect. But after, I should get back to my notes here because I did write it down, and you know what? It's also part of my journal. I just wanted to take this sort of a step further and wanted to make sure everyone knew I am not a professional. I don't have any professional background. I am just giving my opinions as an old grandmother, an old woman who has lived her life as best she can with what she's got. And if anyone feels they're, feels that they have those walls that they can't break down, seek some professional help, because I did. Not of my own doing. So let's go back many, many years when I was working. When I first started working for the government, after my divorce, I worked somewhere else, and then I got an offer. I had won a competition, many of us applied, and I got in. And at that time, you had to be there for 6 months. They were only giving you a 6-month term unless you were offered a permanent position. Anyway, so I got in, I got trained, loved my job. I was a not a graphic designer as they are today. Don't forget, this was in the 80s and in the 90s, 70s, 80s, 90s, where Corel was the big thing. Corel Draw was a big thing. We used a specific software for designing forms. I worked for the federal government. I worked for Census, and we had to design a lot of the census forms, and they had to be done precisely. So if you've had any graphic design experience, you know that things had to be very precise, and I became quite good at it. This new supervisor came from a old-fashioned, if you can remember the old-fashioned typing pools, where production was number one. Tick, 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 tick. Don't take your eyes off anything. Do your work and leave. No socializing, no nothing. It was a factory-like thing. So she came to our section, which was very relaxed. We were very professional. Many of us took extra classes to keep up with technology and I became quite good at it. I was good at fixing things. I was good at fixing printers. I was good at fixing the software to connections, software connections. I was good at a lot of that kind of stuff, but I really loved the graphic design. I really loved designing. If they needed posters done, they would come to us and we would design them for if they needed. So you get the gist. I loved my work. And a lot of, at the time where we were in on our floor at that time, it was very open. And our former supervisor always allowed clients to come directly to whoever worked on their work or whoever they wanted to see to do their work. It was not a factory bang, bang, bang. Well, the new supervisor came in and wanted to change all that. So instead of having an open concept, she put us in a block, and each one had just enough space for our computer to do our work. We had one printer, we had one phone. That was it. All the other offices had multiple printers. Each person had a phone. Nobody, and we were blocked off from the front. She put the team leader in the front, and all clients had to go through her. The reason she was jealous. She was jealous because there was two of us that were really good at our job. And a lot of clients would come to us, and we of course would keep track of our time with each client, because they get charged for our time, and they sign it off and so on and so forth. And I was really good at my job, so good that I actually was quite embarrassed one day when I came to work, and another section called me into the conference room, and I had no idea why. I thought it was a project I had worked on with them, and they were having problems, so, or a connection error, whatever, because I did a little techie stuff too. And I was given a standing ovation. I was given an Employee Appreciation Award. It was a shock, and I was embarrassed, and because I was just doing my job. But because they had deadlines and they needed things right away and they needed it done well, I did that. I was so happy and so excited. I went to show my boss. And do you know what she said to me? This bitch. Sorry, I got to use the word because she was. I was so on cloud 9. Before I went back, I had to go show her because I wanted her to see that we can be a great team. And she told me, oh, that's very nice, but I think you should hide it, bring it home, because the others will be jealous. That was my first indication of the kind of person she was. Anyway, I worked evenings, I worked late, I did all kinds of things. I was getting stressed out because she would call me in and tell me my work was inferior. She would tell me that my production was low. At the time, I didn't know how to handle it because I had never had that before. So, long story short, I had to take time off. She was down on me, not only me, another employee. And this is a horrible thing to say, but we were both English speaking, and she was bilingual. She was French and English, and she was promoting a bilingual environment. Therefore, she did not want us, even though I worked on French work, even though it didn't matter. That was part of the issue. There were other issues. She didn't like clients coming to us unless she had control of what was going on. So, long story short, I had to go off on stress leave. I went off for 2 weeks. I came back. It got worse. It was over Christmas where the crunch was coming down with deadlines and so on. And I worked from home. I was on stress leave, but I worked from home to help my team leader because she was so wonderful. But she had no control over our supervisor. She was a horrible woman. Anyway, I came back. And then I got sick again over Christmas. And within a week, I lost 12 pounds. And I thought I had cancer. I thought I was going to die. All right. Went back to work, told them I have to be off. So I was off. Now, this financially is not good because you only get 50% of your salary. And I was a single mom raising 2 children. So it took me years after that 3-month period to get back on my feet, to catch up on my bills, to do whatever I needed to do. But when I came back to my job, my supervisor, the bitch, called me into her office and said that she doesn't feel that I am capable of doing my work. I am not up to par with everyone else. It crushed me. It crushed me because I thought I was still doing well, and later found out otherwise. She just wanted to get rid of me. So she sent me to Health Canada. Federal employees, if there is any concern about health, job performance, anything like that, they used to, I don't know what they do today. They used to send them to Health Canada, and you got an assessment, a 3-day process. I think normally 1 day. She gave me a 3-day. So I went to Health Canada for 3 days. They tested every single part of my brain, my emotions, my education, my academics, my skills, my emotions, all of the sociological things that needed to be tested, they tested. 3 days. Some were 3 hours long, some of the exams. So at the end of it, the psychiatrist calls me into his office with the paper and with the report, and I had run into him and I had talked to him quite a few times. And he sat me down and he said to me, "What are you doing here?" He said, "You don't need to be here. There's nothing wrong with you. You are quite capable of performing your duties." And then, of course, it also assessed me for career development. He said, "You know, I'm looking at this. You could be this, 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 this." These were wonderful careers. Had I not been financially strapped because of a single mom with no support from the dad, raising 2 children who were becoming teenagers, where was I going to find the money or the time to go to school? So anyway, that felt good. I also learned a few tricks from him in one of our sessions about dealing with emotions. And one of the things that I always remembered, it wasn't him, it was another psychologist who we were talking about things. How do you feel when somebody approaches you? How do you feel when someone attacks you for your work? What do you do? And I say, sometimes I shut right down. Sometimes I cry. Sometimes I just can't handle it. I can't. Confrontation was just not my strength. I was not used to fighting. I was never allowed to fight as a child. So we were not, I did not know how to, I didn't have the tools. She gave me a couple of tools. She said, the next time that someone comes up to you and says, "Why are you doing this way?" Yelling at you, that kind of thing. You have to take a deep breath before you say anything. Stare them in the eye. Take a deep breath. And if you can't stare them in the eye, look away for a second. Take a deep breath. Look at them and say, "I didn't understand could you repeat that?" Or, "What exactly are you saying?" Give the question back. Give the question back. That was priceless tool for me. I didn't know because I had never. I'm going on and on as usual. With the report, I got a copy, and the boss and my big boss, the director, got a copy. And basically it said that I am fit for work. There is no need for concern. She's quite capable of handling it, blah, 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 blah. So I got back. After 2 weeks, I requested a CAD. A CAD is a corporate assignment division. It's a corporate assignment. A corporate assignment means that permanent employees within the government at that time could, if there was a position available, could search out or let people know you're looking for more experience. You want to learn a new trade, or you want to learn more about what you're doing, but in a different capacity. And I did that. I went on a CAD. I went on a CAD and never went back. And usually CADs are 2 years at the most. At the most, 2 years. I got an extra year extension, courtesy of the big B, that bitch. Courtesy of her, because she didn't want me back. And I loved that work. It was so creative. I loved it, and I loved the people, and I loved the clients. But it doesn't matter how much you love your job. If you are pounded constantly, or in the back of your mind are never acknowledged for how good you are, leave. And that's what I did. And I ended up in 3 different positions in the next 3 or 4 years. In the government at that time, you had written and oral competitions where you studied for a specific job. I won that competition. I changed when I was a graphic designer, I changed to a different field, which was more of a support field, which is what I did. I won that competition. I stayed in 2 years. I won another competition, and when I left, I had won a third. Before I retired, 2 years before I retired, I had won another competition. But the invaluable advice that I got when I went to Health Canada, even though that could have been hurtful and negative to me, turned around to a positive that I got to know who I was. I got to know that I was okay, got to know what my strengths were, my weaknesses were, how to handle my weaknesses. Now, I never was really, really good at it, because confrontation, I'm just not good at. I'm just not. But I sought out professional help. I didn't actually seek it out. I was sent. But it was invaluable. I had issues from when I was a child growing up. I had issues of all kinds of different things, just like everybody else. I had walls that I had to break down, and I had to build bridges. I had to go from the place I was in and build a bridge to a new place with new experiences. And that's what I had to do. And it was hard. It was really hard. But I got to the point where, as I got older, it was, I don't care. I do care deep down, but I have to superficially say, I don't care, and give the attitude that I don't care, simply because if somebody is constantly attacking you, it's going to break down your confidence. And what you need to do is not soak up that emotion, but you need to push it away. You need to remove emotion from a confrontation. If somebody comes to you and said, you lied about what you did, what exactly do you mean? Always question back the attacker. Always question them. What are you saying? What do you mean by that? I don't understand what you're saying. Could you repeat it? All of the things, if it gives you time to react without emotion, and it gives them, that kind of throws them off from hitting and throwing things at you. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that even though in my last session I talked about, wanting to be a nun and living alone and loving living alone, and not being afraid and not needing, it's always nice to have someone, but the point is not needing someone, and there's a big difference. You want to be with someone is different than the need, because the need is something that you're lacking in your heart. The need is fear. The wanting is desire and love. There's a big difference. I am babbling on again. I am sorry. But I just wanted to sort of let you know that I went through struggles. I had to learn how to deal with people. And it was really, really hard for me because I was a shy, quiet little girl who was kept to herself. I mean, I had friends, as I said. I usually had a couple of very, very close friends that I could confide in. But they're usually, and they know all my secrets. My girlfriends knew all my secrets. And if they betrayed me, they were no longer my friend. It was as simple as that. That happened once. And that friend was no longer my friend. But I wanted to share my work experience with you to show you that I did get professional help to help me deal with some of the issues. And in these sessions and talking with these psychiatrists, psychologists, counselors, I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about, I had to practice though. I had to role play a lot. At home, I used to role play. It was so funny. Because I lived alone, I could do what I want. I used to role play somebody attacking, and what do you, and the point is never to lean back, but to lean in. What do you mean by that? And in a very calm voice, what exactly are you saying? Could you repeat that for me? My last session that I had, because I'd been practicing, the last session I had with my former boss, we sat down in a room and our team leader was there because there was always supposed to be there's always supposed to be a balance, but there never was a balance so that the person coming in doesn't feel attacked. But when you have your team leader and your supervisor and you're sitting there and they're going to start talking about your performance and your work and so on, you feel intimidated. But this last time I went in and she started with these notes. My performance was low. I said, "Excuse me. You're telling me that my production is lower than everyone else's." And she was, "Oh, yes, yes, yes." And she started telling me then. I said, "How do you measure our production?" She went dead silent. She had no idea how to answer me. I said, "If you feel that my production is low, I want to see the figures on all the production and where I stand." "Oh, well, we don't have that available, blah, 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 blah." She started making excuses. Then she said, let's get on. She wanted to get on to other things. Sorry, I thought my camera was going to fall. She also was saying something. What was the other thing? Oh my gosh, I'd forgotten it. It was so good. She said something else to me about my work, about what. And oh, I know what it was. She had said to me that my production had fallen. We each had an opportunity. This was what it was. We each had an opportunity to work at home. It was a pilot project. Each person could ask if we could work at home for 1 month. Mine was 2 weeks. She didn't want to give me a month, but everybody else got a month. Anyway, she gave me 2 weeks. She said to me that my production was low for that period of time. And that I was not always available. I asked her, "Could you repeat that?" Because I wanted to answer it properly. And she asked me, she then kind of stumbled over. And I told her that I kept records of my production, my hours, and what I was doing, as well as doing overtime doing training at night when I didn't need to. I had documents on an Excel spreadsheet that I would love to share with her to prove her wrong. And I said, is that everything? You have to tell me. And she said, yes, you just have to sign this. I said, no, I am not signing it because this is a negative performance review and I feel it is wrong. So I will not sign it. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your input, but you're wrong. And I left. I walked out of there, went into the bathroom, almost cried. I was just beside myself. I could not believe that I talked back to her. I could not believe it. And you know, that was the beginning of my confidence building because I had to build it back. And that was my confidence building. So, as I babbled on about this, my emotions came back because I could still feel the hurt I had when she pounded me and pounded me. And she didn't do that to anyone else. She pounded me and pounded me. Excuse me. After I left that job, just to give you a little side note before I leave you with showing you that it takes time to break down those walls. After I left, I was gone for 2 years. The 8 people that worked where I worked, that did the work I did, charged her and took her to harassment court within the government, I mean, whatever it's called, charged her with abuse, abuse of authority, all kinds of stuff. I forget what it was, and I wasn't involved, and I thought, woohoo, I wasn't involved. The reason, what they did was when they went to the union and the union decided to do this charge, each one of the employees had to go through an assessment like I did, only it was only a 3-hour assessment to make sure they wouldn't go what they consider postal. In other words, come in with a gun and shoot everybody. But that's what she was doing to those people. And my best friend worked for her, and she was the only one who would not let her knock her down. So that was my story. That was my story of my troubles, my hard times, my stress of being a single mom, raising 2 kids, dealing with work, dealing with stress, putting in more time than that was necessary without being appreciated, and having to go through professional help to help me deal with all of this stress. The 12 pounds I lost in a week was not cancer, it was stress, because I couldn't eat. I only drank water, and the doctor said the water was flushing everything out of my system. That's all I could do, is drink. I couldn't do anything else. Anyway, that was my story. So I have learned over the years to try and recreate myself, try and build up my self-confidence, try and build up my my broken heart, my broken spirit. My spirit was broken. I was a good mom. My kids were giving me a hard time. I was, I thought I was a good mom, but I was at work. So I felt that being at work, I was guilty because I wanted to be home. And I felt if I was home, my kids would have been. I mean, my kids are perfect today. They're such good citizens and people and moms and dads and stuff. But, when you have a lot of stress going on, it affects the whole family and it affects the whole dynamics. So it took me a lot of years. And I'll tell you, when I retired, I told my children I did not want to be disturbed for 3 months. Don't ask me to call. Don't ask for a ride. Don't ask me for money. Don't ask me to help you. Don't ask me to babysit. For 3 months, I'm staying in my jammies. I'm sleeping. I'm staying up as late as I want, sleeping as long as I want, eating what I want. It lasted 2 weeks, to be honest, or maybe not even 2 weeks. But that was That was my way of celebrating my freedom, celebrating the finally I could get to know me again. I could get to heal me. I could heal my spirit. I could heal my heart. I could heal my mental attitude. A lot of things. To me, that was now my time. And that is how I'm going to end this. Heal yourself. Do the best you can. Get help if you need it. It is so important to talk to someone else. Better a professional, simply because they know things today. They got tips and tricks to help you. And I am so glad that I did have that support way back when. I never even drank my tea. I talk so much, and this is way too long. Again, I apologize. I want to thank everyone for my for comments on my last week's video. I just wanted you to know that I'm not perfect, that I did have troubles. I did seek help. It took me a long time to be happy in my heart. It took me a long time. But I'm now at a place where I feel I can handle things, except for last year. We all remember that. Because I forgot. I forgot that I was taking care of myself. I forgot about me. And that's what we need to remember. We are important. We have to be healthy for those around us. We have to be healthy for ourselves. Whether it's mental or physical, we need to look after ourselves. Anyway, guys, as I said, I am just babbling on. I just wanted to kind of give you an idea that it wasn't easy for me. I didn't come upon this like out of the blue. I wasn't born with this magical answer to being alone, or this strength, or this spirituality. I searched for it. I searched for it. I adopted it. I took it into my heart, and I embraced it. And I embrace my time. I embrace the woman that I am today. Went through a lot to get here. And the struggles I have now are different. The struggles are being a caregiver. The struggles are being with my mother. And most of those struggles are fear. And the fear is she's going to die at home and I won't know what to do. Or we're going to be out and I'm going to lose her. That's my fear. That's my true fear. I have to combat that with the fact that she's here today. She's laughing. She's enjoying herself. Some days she's quieter than other days. I take her out. We do things together. I'm enjoying my mom. And I'm hoping to have some more balcony talks with her. I'm hoping that she will share more. Mom's memory is declining quite a bit. So the stories may not be as fun as they were last year, but we're going to see what we can do, even if it's a little off. Thanks again for joining me this week. I hope you got something out of this. Again, I am not a professional. I am just an old woman sharing my life experiences with you, and I hope it'll help. Thanks again, and we'll see you again soon. Bye for now.